Okay, so look, I want to say thank you to a few people. Of course, our presenters today. We began with my co-host of the Canadian Weekly Canadian Gender Wars Report, Melanie Bennett, followed by Father David Toder. We had at Just Dad 7 Twitter handle who presented the evidence based report. Bruce Party. I know everyone who saw that presentation is going to be ruminating on that for days to come if they're like me, and our panel group as well as David Haskell. I want to ask you to there's an old story, and this reflects a little bit what Professor Haskell was saying. There's an old story about when you're driving your car in the wintertime, if you lose control of the car, um, the, the key to you know getting out of that safely is to look where you want to go, because if you look where you don't want to go, you end up going into it. And this is one of the things that DEI, that Professor Haskell pointed out, that it makes people focus on the things that they don't want. Well, I'm going to suggest that I've got our duty coming on board here as well. I'm going to suggest that a part of the challenge that we're facing is a visionary challenge, and the visionary challenge is to have us collectively consider what we want to focus on instead of what we currently have. We could focus on the DEI proponents. We could focus on all the problems. We could focus on pointing to all the frustrations that we have. But if we want to work together to create an education system that is an environment where our children will thrive and enter the adult world with the tools that they absolutely need to be successful, we need to articulate that in positive terms. And so I would leave us there, or I would leave us in that with that question as we're thinking about this. I want to thank everybody today. Our duty. Are you able to talk there?
I think so. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. I just wanted to, okay, so I'll touch back on yes, we're adrift in a snowstorm. We don't want to, we don't want to look where we don't want to go. So I wanted to bring that back to the language that we use. I just want to make the point that it's very, very important not to adopt the language that is being pushed so hard in our society. So I think that even though it takes a little longer sometimes to use more realistic and I guess more descriptive language of what we're talking about. For example, I would never say my trans child. I would say my daughter who thinks she's a boy. That's more words. It's a little more difficult. It's not that difficult to kind of place your brain in that spot to use very accurate language, because I do think that we all know that some of the manipulation through DEI and through the trans agenda at large is coming in through the language. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there, that using accurate language is a really great tool, even in conversation with people in everyday life, and particularly in our writings, in our speaking events, and everything. So that's all. That's all.
Terrific. Thanks so much. Our duty, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of people who work behind the scenes who can't be named, and our duty is a parent support group primarily. It's done a lot of great work in terms of advocacy, not just here in Canada, but around the world. We're really thankful to have their contribution to the PRCOC. And we're inviting people who are involved in groups across the country to engage at the national level. There are other groups who are attempting to build towards coalition. I think it's inevitable that we will be coming together over the next year, especially. We've seen a lot of movement. So reach out if you would like to get involved, if you are a member of another organization somewhere else in the country, whether it's a community organization, a parents organization. We would love to have your representation on the board of PRCOC that's forming, so that we can strategize, as Bruce Party says, focus more on the strategy as opposed to other tactics, and create and implement a collective vision together. We have the September principles that we all signed on to. Now, just speaking of looking ahead into the future, before I close out, remember June the 3rd. We're aiming for a national day of action. I believe that's going to be an absence day, similar as it's the first day of Pride Month, and September the 20th up this year. Of course, don't limit your actions to just those 2 days, but please do mark your calendars. I want to thank everybody for attending. It's been a mind-bending day, and we will send you all links to the videos that we will list privately that you can view again and that you can share with others. My name is Shannon Douglas Boucher. You can follow me at Shannon B. Douglas on Twitter. And I'm always happy to take questions. Shannon at chasingquicksilver.com is my email address. Feel free to reach out. Info at prcoc.ca is another address you can get us at. Thanks again to everybody for today. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful rest of your weekend.